Summer's just around the corner, so what better time for me to review a snowboarding game? Wait, what? I can't say I have a personal history with this game because I've never played it, but I will say this right off the bat. If you liked SSX and wished it played more like Mario Kart and thought it should be online and free, this might be right up your alley. So, without further ado, this is the MMO Grinder, and it's time to look at Project Powder. Developed by Studio Blue Cat and published by Outspark, Project Powder, or ProPow as the cool kids say, is an action snowboarding racer MMO which nicely covers both my sports and racing MMO quota. Players race down steep slopes and attempt to reach the finish line, performing tricks along the way. The story of Project Powder is extremely stupid. No, really. According to the website, it's the distant future, global warming has rendered Earth without winter, and henceforth winter sports are now defunct. So in order to alleviate this, the people of Earth decided to build portals to allow them to snowboard in space! Yes, this is what it actually says on the official website. Y'all just made that up, didn't you? Ugh, anyway, let's start this thing. In starting out, you're going to notice you're stuck with a weird resolution of 1024 by 768, and if you start up the game looking for an option to change it, you're not going to find it. The search online mentioned you could alter a game file in Notepad to change the resolution, but it doesn't always work, and more often than not, it'll crash the game entirely, rendering it unplayable. I'll have to apologize for the choppy frame rate here. The game runs a lot smoother than this, but since I couldn't change the resolution, I was stuck recording like this, as half-size recording would have generated a really small resolution. Since Fraps only records in full-size or half-size, it was either clear choppy footage or smooth and blurry footage. You know, real win-win for me. Oh, I suppose I should talk about the graphics rather than complain about their quirks. They're nice enough, nothing groundbreaking, but very colorful and fitting of the theme, especially when they start tossing in the more fantastical elements and harder tracks. I will say it does make earlier tracks rather bland-looking, however, and the game relies on using mirrored tracks a bit too much in order to artificially expand its course list. My only other complaint comes in the form of clipping, as you'll hit some obstacles in a strange way, sending you bouncing off in a manner that doesn't make much physical sense, and I've even passed through a course wall once to fall slowly into an empty void. Typical 3D game bugs, but they don't come up too often. The music is... what is this? Listen to it. Seriously, what is that? It's like sometimes techno-rap. There's a dance music feel, but it's not something you can dance to. There's guitar rock that doesn't really rock. There's weird remixes of Christmas music. We are aware cold weather doesn't equate Christmas, right? There's a song that samples chatter from a police radio scanner, so I guess this is some sort of techno, dance, guitar, hip-hop. Really, what the hell is this? Is this some sort of music genre I'm not aware of? In short, I don't like this soundtrack, as more often than not it doesn't seem fitting of the courses. Sure, there is a couple good tracks, but more often than not I'll hear something that just doesn't fit. Sound does the job correctly. You'll hear voice clips of your snowboarders, the sloshing of snow as you sail down the mountainside. It's really nothing special beyond that, so I have nothing more to say about it. It works, but I have no problem playing this game with the sound off is all. When you start the game, the very first thing you'll be asked to do is select from one of three characters, Max, Ross, and Beth. Besides their looks, there seems to be no actual difference between characters, like no changes in stats or anything. This choice seems purely cosmetic. Even though you can modify their starting outfit, it doesn't actually seem to work, as you'll just be wearing gray pajamas when you start, and in the mail you receive a set of useless gear that looks nothing like what you've selected. Don't spend too much time in here is all. Once ready, you can choose from 3 channels, each with a level limit. Level 1 through 5 for Channel 1, levels 1 through 11 for Channel 2, and Channel 3 has no level limit. If you want a good grasp of this game's basics, choose Tutorial where it'll explain all the keys you need to play the game. For another rundown, I'll just go over the basic controls now. The arrow keys move your character. Press left or right to steer, up to move faster, and down to slow down. In midair, you can use left and right to spin, up to tweak tricks, or down to backflip. Spacebar makes your character jump. To perform tricks, press and hold combinations of W, A, S, and D in midair to change moves, but keep in mind you'll need to unlock tricks in the trick tree. If you've played SSX, you'll feel right at home here. The trick tree can be found on the main screen, and choosing a move will ask you to perform it a set number of times on a course. Complete the task and the trick is unlocked. With each level you can complete a new quest in the trick tree to unlock even more tricks. There are 3 game modes you can play, but all of them have roots in the first mode, Race. Each mode also has you starting out on the top of a flying iPod, which vanishes from underneath you as you plummet to the mountainside. In Race mode, you simply try to reach the finish line first, avoiding obstacles and performing tricks to increase your boost meter. If you have any boost in your meter, or your meter is full, you can double tap and hold the up key to travel at much faster speeds. Boosting with a full bar will increase both your speed and duration, so it's up to you if you'd rather save the boost for a long, speedy run, or use it in shorter bursts. You can also earn short bursts by pressing and holding forward the instant you land a jump. The second mode is Battle, race mode with a Mario Kart style twist. In this mode you'll race down the mountain as usual, but along the way you'll see floating ice cubes which contain items, both defensive and offensive, which can be used by pressing F. Offensive items like missiles and snowflakes need to have the F key held down to ready them before firing, while the defensive items like magic walls and boost packs need only to be tapped to activate. Like in Mario Kart, Battle can be an intense mode with everyone screwing over everyone else in an effort to win. It's just as much luck as it is skill. The final mode is Coin mode, where the course is littered with coins. Reaching the finish line first isn't nearly as important as collecting a lot of coins, and they're scattered in a fairly unorthodox pattern. Different coins have different values, and there's even rusted coins that will remove 4 coins from your total if collected. You can also screw over other players, or yourself, by picking up the modifier icon, which will randomly switch around coin values, oftentimes turning gold coins into rusted coins, or sometimes adding a magnet effect which will draw coins into you. At the end of some races, you'll seem to randomly obtain gems. These are apparently used to upgrade your outfit pieces to grant you slight boosts to aspects of your characters, like your speed or your ease of performing tricks. Unfortunately, the game is really terrible about telling you how this works. I never really felt like I needed to mess with this feature to play the game, because it's not really vital to gameplay, especially when you're still very low level. One thing I like about this game is that despite being level progression based, the only thing you're withheld from is the amount of tricks you can perform. I've held my own against level 30s as a level 1, and even beaten a level 12 player in battle with little issue, so this game values skill above level, at least for a good amount of the time. What I'm saying here is, don't be afraid to play on Channel 3, because, well, that's where you're going to see the most people, and probably the only place you'll see anyone. No one plays this game. Alright, let me explain what's going on here. This game is borderline dead. If you're wondering what I mean by that, I mean that not only do comparatively few people play the game, but the game itself is stagnating. The developer actually shut down production of the game back in 2009, and while Outspark vowed in a late 2011 forum post to keep the game going for as long as it physically can, there is absolutely no new content being produced for the game. Once you've mastered every track and unlocked every character, that's it, and nothing else will happen for as long as you play it. An MMO without growth is almost always doomed to fail, but I will say that at least the gameplay doesn't really require constant advancement. You didn't throw out your copy of Mario Kart or SSX because the developers wouldn't send you expansion sets with new tracks on them for free, did you? Still, in the hands of a new developer, this game could fare quite well. Hey, it worked for City of Heroes and Brick Force after all. I could say the same for Hellgate London, but that would be up to interpretation, wouldn't it? Would have been nice if that happened to Pie Story. I'll stop talking about that game eventually. Alright, enough of that, let's get to what's actually here community-wise. In order to start a game, you can choose to create a game or join one currently listed in the lobby. Once in the lobby, your character will be seen on screen, you can control them with the arrow keys and chat with others in the room. Alternatively, if you click and hold the left mouse button on screen for a short while, you can make a snowball to toss at other players while you wait. Click ready to ready up, and the room leader can start the game once everyone is ready. If you're the room leader, you must wait for everyone to be ready, and you can actually start a match with nobody in the room to run the course single player. Not a bad option if you just want to learn the courses. I would say XP gain is painfully slow, but it really depends on what you're doing. If you run solo games or just with one other person, you'll take ages to gain a new level. But if you have a full room, or better yet, a full team room, you have the most potential to gain experience at a much faster rate. The people in the game? Yeah, pretty quiet, really. If you can find them. There's also a small chance you might have a new join insist you choose a certain map, but they're easily ignored. Just don't expect anyone in-game to help you through it. At the very least, they usually don't get too belligerent to start the game once they arrive in the lobby, unlike some games I could mention. There's actually two parts to the cash shop in this game, the mall and the pro shop. The mall is an area where you can use your in-game cash to purchase items. Most of the items in here offer no properties, and all of them are rentals, available in only 7-day and 4-week rental periods. There's several different shops within the mall, such as the accessory shop, clothing shop, and snowboard shop, all where you can purchase different looks for your character. At this point, unless you plan on upgrading those items with ores and gems, accessible in the magic shop, or just can't stand the grey pajama look, there's really very little reason to go in here if you're strapped for cash. The actual cash shop is accessible by clicking the Pro Shop button while in the mall. Well, it should be, except it doesn't work properly. If you want to see what's available to purchase in Project Powder, you'll have to head to the game's main site and shop from there. I will say that all the items in here are not only rentals, but they're a bit pricey. While you can purchase Spark Cash in fairly large increments, considering that each cash shop item lasts a month to 3 months, you'll really have to wonder if it's worth dropping any cash on a dying game. It does seem that each item in the cash shop does provide substantial bonuses to your stats, like boosting your speed, boost, and trick ability, which unfortunately gives the game a bit of a pay-to-win aspect. Trust me when I say a guy decked out in cash shop gear will probably be impossible to beat at early levels. So the choice is up to you. Get a nice boost to your stats and change up your appearance, or forego having the upper hand and not risk spending money on a game that's days are numbered. Outside issues aside, I did have a lot of fun with this game. And like many games I've played before, it's way more fun if you bring your friends along. But if you enjoyed SSX to any extent and wanted a free online version, this fits the bill. Here's my final rating. This game is a lot of fun, plain and simple. It's a snowboarding racer that will feel very familiar to players of SSX, and adding the Mario Kart twist in the battle mode adds an extra layer of depth to the formula, albeit an unoriginal one. It's easy to play and a perfect distraction to those who like casual games. If you're going to pay for anything in the game, just be well aware that you can't keep it. Since everything is a rental, you'll have to keep investing in the items, which frankly are a bit high priced for simple rentals. Remember that clothing pieces and boards offer stat boosts, but that opens up a whole other realm of problems, doesn't it? If you never liked SSX, providing you played it, this game is pretty much exact same thing, so you probably won't like this. Unless you always felt that SSX needed a Mario Kart aspect. XP gains are painfully low in this game, unless you have a lot of people in the race and win most of the time, so a slow level climb might turn off a lot of people to this game. Whenever you see someone decked out in cash shop items, chances are they're going to win, as the items are heavily boosted, making the game have a bit of a pay-to-win aspect, but not as detrimental as it would be in a fantasy world MMO. Finally, this should go without saying, but the game's days are numbered. Unless it's picked up by a new developer, this game will never have any new content, and that's not even a remotely good thing for an MMO. You might want to play this while you can, but if you're worried about getting into a game that might not be available later on down the line, give this one a pass. Next time, I hope I get done on time, but at least I'll be appealing to my impeccable sense of timing. You'll see. Yeah, sorry if this seems rushed, but the game kind of broke on me in the middle of playing it, and then it just stayed that way for 3 days. Not a good sign. Ah! Sorry, that take's ruined. Oh. Justin's doing what?